The Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world. This is an anime that I've been looking forward to for the longest time. I had made multiple videos about this on my channel talking about it, and it is finally here. I love Power Rangers and I love Isekai. That's all you really need to know. But with that being said, let's get started. It starts very jam-packed actually. As we know in Power Rangers, or in any kind of Ranger media, there are worldly invaders. With this series being no different, there's tons of them putting the city into ruin, led by their leader, the Breakup King. In a huge iron fortress, he vows to take the planet down and their bonds with it. But he is opposed by 5 people, the Kizuna 5, and they summon their Zords, essentially, the Kizuna Beasts, like in the first 50 seconds of the show, and that's crazy to me, going all in from the get-go because their planet is on the line. They combine all of their Zords using something called the Bond Merger, and in this series, there's a huge emphasis on bonds and many stereotypes when it comes to Rangers, and it's hilarious. So while they go to this fortress to defeat the Breakup King, the Megazord gets damaged, so while they are flying, it drops back down. But before that happens, the leader, Kizuna Red, with the help of the rest of the Ranger squad, enters the fortress to fight the leader of the invaders alone. And in typical Power Rangers fashion, he ends up beating him thanks to the power of bonds essentially, but it looks pretty freaking cool. After the exchange of blows between the two though, Red falls from the sky where the fortress is, and when it seems all is lost and he's about to die, the unthinkable happens. Just as he falls to the ground, the impact is hard, but it isn't death. Like we expected, he realizes that he isn't dead, but that he is in another world. One much different than his original one, and this is where the story really begins. She says that she will return to the position of Royal Scepter. What does that mean? You will see later. She has adventurers test her strength against her golem because she needs one or some to assist her. So there is one more adventurer that is to be tested today. Yes, that's our protagonist, Togo Asagaki, also known as Red. Eudora had very little expectations of him because nobody who shows up before her shows any promise whatsoever. But he was definitely a special case. In 6 months, he built quite a reputation for himself, a rising star if you will. And I will go ahead and say this series makes a lot of jokes. It's funny as fuck to me. Some moments are badass, but it's more funny than anything. But Togo enters the mansion, and skipping a lot of the non-important stuff, he begins the test that the other adventurers went through. He in this world still has everything he had in the previous one to morph, so everything he does looks pretty cool. But yeah, Togo gives his cool little ranger monologue, and you can just see random explosions behind him. This will be a running gag, by the way. Even Eudora wonders about this stuff because, you know, in this world they have nothing close to that technology. It's more magic and medieval. She can't sense any mana on him, but clearly sees that he is powerful. It's an anomaly. Togo makes easy work of Eudora's golem and causes another explosion. Afterwards, he asks if he passed, and she says, yeah, and we'll hire him for the job. That's what the test was for. But in the next scene, she quickly learns that he's from another world, and that's pretty different from your typical Isekai formula, right? It takes way longer than this usually, and this makes sense to Eudora because she is a very powerful mage, right? So why would she never have heard of this kind of power before? But even though it is rare, it's not totally impossible for someone from another world to appear. It is even rumored that the former hero was an otherworlder. When she discusses the job with Togo finally, she wants him to collect mana metal for her from some distant ruins. To spare you the details, it's some really rare new type of ore filled with mana, and because it's dangerous, it's up to her and her family to study this. It's their duty to stop magic that can endanger people, and Togo, with his strong sense of justice being a ranger, accepts this job easily, thinking that it will help people. So Togo transforms and yoinks my girl away, so they make it to the ruins and they begin fighting together. I mean, it was obvious by her look and how she talked that she's a fucking problem. And Togo, he is going to be my new favorite main character of this anime season, honestly. This guy is strong as fuck, don't get me wrong, but he is goofy as hell. All of his moves are cool, but they have funny names, and he gives a Power Rangers monologue before every single one of them, and his weapon also makes noises. But Eudora even notices how strong he is. He calls all the monsters fodder, and that's funny to me too. After defeating monsters and going deeper into the ruins, they start to get a bit closer together. Togo tells Eudora about his past world and his time with his ranger squad and the bonds they shared. Eudora says it sounds like it was a really good time, so then why isn't he trying to find a way back home? His answer was actually pretty fire to me. He said at first he was trying to find a way home, but he realized that this world had a ton of problems too, and maybe he was sent here for a reason. He was chosen to be a Red Ranger in his world, but maybe he was meant to be a ranger in this world as well. Answering this made him want to hear about Eudora's dreams, so she spilled too. Like I said in the beginning, she wants to restore her family to the role of Royal Scepter. This meaning, it's the title given to the mages who oversee and manage all sorceress study at the behest of the royal family. And this is a role that her family took on for generations, and it made the people happy. But 10 years ago, her dad lost a battle to a mage, and this led her family being expelled from the capital. So, the person who beat her dad, the current scepter, uses magic only as a tool for war, and Eudora does not want to stand for that. She wants magic to be used to make everyone happy. That is her dream. That was actually deep as fuck to me. Togo even said that he loved that dream because who wouldn't, right? That's awesome. But more time passes and they find the monometal, and in bulk. As soon as they approach it, they are attacked by a dragon. Not just any dragon, but a huge dragon. Red gets injured by this though, and this makes Eudora feel bad because he got injured saving her from the attack. He has another world to return to, people to see. He shouldn't be here in her eyes. So she wants him to go away, but he tells her no because he fell in love with her dream, and he will do his best to make that dream come true. Goat. But he transforms, and you know, whenever he does anything, the explosion happens. He does this when she is right behind him, and it blew her away, bro. That shit was so funny to me. But then Red says he needs to pull out his secret weapon, and he needs a strong bond of friendship to do this, and asks Eudora if she will help him. She was like, bitch, I literally just met you today. How do you think this will work? But he tells her that they share their dreams together, so of course it should, right? Fair enough. This guy summoned the Kizuna Beast, aka the Zords, bro. I didn't think it was possible with just him, but hey, the entire anime has been about the power of friendship and bond so far. She is inside the Megazord now and is wondering what the hell's going on at this point. But since they're both inside this Megazord, they fight the dragon and they win. At the very end of the episode, Eudora tells Red that she plans to become an adventurer now and wants to observe his powers up close, and working with him, she may be able to use his powers with hers to discover something new. For example, a way to send someone to another world. So this is how their adventure together will begin. I didn't say anything about it, but she obviously has a thing for him. It's hilarious. She blushes after every little thing. But their chemistry together is awesome. He is a super positive guy who is hilariously cheesy, and she is a great character with a deeper backstory than I would have thought. They mesh very well together. I'm glad I stumbled upon this series. You better believe I'm going to be locked in every week, and she's best girl. So give it a watch, and I'll see you next time.